Good night. It is November 7, 2024, and it is a Thursday. Here in Sherbrooke, it is currently 4 degrees Celsius, 39 degrees Fahrenheit. It's chilly, but it's not too bad. It's not freezing yet. The sun this morning rose at, I need to select the city. The sun this morning rose at 6:36 a.m. and it set at a disappointing 4:26 p.m. That's a total of 9 hours and 50 minutes of sunlight. We are rushing headfirst towards the winter solstice. It's going to keep getting shorter and shorter, but the days will start getting longer after that. I just got back from playing Magic the Gathering with the latest iteration, without expressive iteration, of the Timur Prowess deck that I'm playing. I went 0-3. However, that is because I played poorly. At least I can put the finger on that. First was against Hollow One, and lost the first, won the second, and then on the third, my opponent put down 2 Hollow Ones in one turn, which basically is a 4/4 for 4, but you can put it down for free if you discard enough cards during a turn. But then they had a Detective's Phoenix in the graveyard. I had a Tormod's Crypt out. They had a Detective's Phoenix in the graveyard, and I made the mistake of not exiling their graveyard when the second Hollow One came out, because it bestowed it, made it into a 6/6 flying, and I lost. Then I played against a combo deck with white and green combo deck, and no, I should have mulliganed until I had a Rough Tumble, because the rough side of Rough Tumble just clears the board, and they had this creature, I don't know what it's called, but it's sort of like a Chalice of the Void. They pick a mana value, and I can't cast non-creature spells with that mana value. And they chose one again, and at the end, like, I copied it with I copied another one to exile with a Mockingbird, but in any case, they had this big board out. So I lost. And then I lost against this Thassa's Oracle combo deck, and I was so dumb. I had it consigned to memory. I just got greedy on this turn, and things were not going well for my opponent. So yeah, won the first, lost the second, and on the third one, I had a consigned to memory in hand, which would have broken their combo, my opponent's combo, and then I just preordained it instead to try to get something, and I could have just at least survived another turn, and but I would have died the other turn afterwards anyway, I think so. But it's okay. So I will learn from my mistakes. Still a new deck with Elusive Otter, which is a good card. I just don't know what to side out. That's the issue. I'm not this split between like 2 Mockingbirds, 2 Soul Scars, and maybe just having 4 Soul Scars would have been better. But I like Mockingbird because I can get flying versions of all my creatures. So I guess I'll get back to talking about Dark Souls 4. Because now it's La Tarantella è Sbagliata, which is just, there's just a lot going on there. So, when I was thinking about putting out Dark Souls 4, which maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago, something like that, or maybe less than that, during the summer, I was thinking of leaving the song out, because that was one of the things that was holding me back, was I just didn't know what to do with this song. It had a bunch of different sections for the song. You'll know, it just goes, it's bunch of strange angled turns into different genres and moods and tempos and all this stuff. But I decided to keep it on there. It was actually the first single I put out right before going into rehab. It was just like, fuck it, song's done, I'll just put it out and see what happens. And I had a really good response, which is like, I almost didn't put this song on there because I just didn't know how to finish it. And eventually just ended up like saying like, I'll just arrange it the way I think it would sound the best, and I switched out one part, and so yeah, it's definitely like the most dense song on the album, and sort of the emotional center of it for a lot of reasons. So I forgot why I wanted to sing in Italian. Oh, because la tarantela. So like that part, the part where I should goes like, I'd rather suffer alone than choose between these eternal sigh and you, lying in a tight black dress, and I close my eyes. I wonder if they make one in my size. Rather than pray in the tone, I'll move my hips from left to right. Rather than callously confess, we'll sway our thighs like we had some ergot in our rye. And there's an old thing. It must have been from like 2015, 2016, maybe. It had that section without the break beats on it in the second half. But the whole thing started with that. And so I was just going, while I was composing Dark Souls 4 alone on cocaine, I decided that I was going to like go back to this one and be like, I know there's something there, but I was never able to finish it. So like, all right, well, I can sing in Italian, because La Tarantella is a dance and musical style from Italy, which has to do with basically some cultures there. I don't know if this is true or if it's apocryphal, but the legend, at least, is that there were certain spiders that if you're bit by the spider, the way to get rid of the venom is to just do this dance. And I've talked about this before, but this idea of making people dance is really important to me. It's a very important part of being a human being. I always had difficulty dancing when I wasn't performing or drunk or on drugs. I guess I still do feel awkward doing it. I'm not a very good dancer. I do a lot of dancing when I perform, and it works. It's weird dancing, but it's fun dancing. But again, it goes back to the fact that like my the character that I create and that I embody when I'm performing is I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I wish I could do otherwise, right? And so dancing is one of those things. Then it goes back to, and I've mentioned this before, the interview with John Darnielle of the Mountain Goats, in which he talks about how we tend to forget how important entertainment is in difficult times. And you look at what happened in the U.S., right? Donald Trump was reelected, which is definitely going to make a lot of people suffer. So instead of making political art, which I don't feel qualified to do and is not in my wheelhouse, and I think I would make bad political art, and I'll leave it to the professionals. What I can do, of course I don't live in the U.S., but I mean, things are not fantastic in Canada either. We have a lot of problems. To do something entertaining, I mean, like the last show that I played, there weren't that many people there, but the people who were there and gave me some nice comments about my performance, they all said that it was fun. I thought it was funny and entertaining, and they laughed. And for like 40 minutes max, at least I can just help people to just not think about how fucking brutal it can be to be alive, you know? Especially now in this like world where we have access to all of the suffering that's happening in the world. We can see it instantly. We can just see images of all the atrocities happening, all the suffering, all the doom, right? All the doom that we're going to have to feel about the future. If we're honest about the future. So even back then, like even back when I was making this song initially and writing those lyrics, that part, this idea of, I'm just sort of like now realizing that these things that I've realized about myself and about this art that I'm making and have been making, I didn't really realize those things consciously beforehand, but like listening back to lyrics, and of course is the part where I'm like interpreting it through the lens of what I know right now. But there's definitely stuff like, for example, like, so yes, in the Tarantella part, the initial part, like there is this idea of just like we're just gonna dance. We're just gonna dance in the face of this suffering, you know, rather than pray in a tone, I'll move my hips from left to right, you know. But also this idea of like lying in a tight black dress, and I close my eyes. I wonder if they make one in my size. Because I definitely had this idea of death as a woman that I've talked about or sang about in some lyrics, like "Only Silence Can Save You," in "Wedding Dress." I don't know why death is a woman in my head. Maybe it's some internalized misogyny, because I'm afraid of death. Maybe I'm afraid of women. I don't know. But death isn't like inherently bad. It's just a fourth. But also it's like an inversion of like, I'd say, like Western culture. So like maybe not like a lot of, actually I don't know. I'm not going to try to like interpret the mythology of the world, but sort of like, at least around my culture, it's a lot of like, life is a woman, death, violence is a man. So like an inversion of that as well. I don't know. I think a part of it is internalized misogyny, which doesn't feel good to say or feel. Should probably work on that. But this idea of like, I wonder if they make one in my size too, which is, when I perform, I usually wear a dress. I didn't for a long time in Daniel Cowman. When I played in Hoodooed, a band that I was in before, I wore dresses, just because they're comfortable. I feel really comfortable in dresses. But again, it's a character that I create, right? I'd probably feel comfortable wearing a dress in my everyday life, but although there's nothing wrong with it, and obviously, and people around me would be supportive, I guess I just don't want to like answer questions about it. Although I am surrounded by people who would not be I was gonna say a big deal, but just like a deal. I wouldn't have to really answer any questions at all. But then again, another fear, probably a fear of like expressing a part of myself. But yeah, so like in sort of like the death of myself when I perform, right, where I temporarily, my everyday me dies, and then embodies, is reborn within this character. The lyrics speak to that as well, right? And that I'm only able to create this environment in which I can entertain and we can dance our worries and troubles and thoughts and fears away, is only through that metaphorical death. I hope that makes sense. And so then I decided, okay, well, I'll write some lyrics in Italian, or write some lyrics and put them through Google Translate. But that's the first part. I don't remember what they mean. I'd say just copy, paste, and put them through Google Translate back. I forgot exactly. I think it was just like a little snippet that I, like instrumentally, that I made. This little snippet of microtonal stuff. And then, the 303, Distorted 303 comes in. And this thing that I love doing, which maybe I overdo, which is make the one be in a weird place. So like the sequence starts, but then the one of the kick drum isn't in a spot that is unexpected. I mean, the best example of that, and is definitely a more sophisticated example, is a Videotape by Radiohead, which is my favorite Radiohead song. Which, yeah, there's like a whole video about it, which you can look up on YouTube. Radiohead Videotape, rhythm, kick drum, whatever. That explains it very well. But yeah, that's what, like, when it comes in, it just, you really don't expect it. There's like clips too in the video of Tom York just like really like playing to figure out when the kick drum is going to come in. Anyway, and then I have my friend Shao, who I asked to just say something in Italian, and then I put it on YouTube in an unlisted video, and then slowed it down. So it's like the YouTube slowed down algorithm, because I think is a lot of us have done, and hopefully if you haven't done it yet, do it. Taking a video and just slowing it down as slow as possible. It's very funny. I've done that a lot with my friends. We had some nice times. looking at slowed down videos and laughing. And there's like the gabber part with some theremin on top of it, which was later on the track initially. And then the part I really like, the Bury Me Face First, I Want to Face the Dirt, which a friend of mine who also played piano on The Honey Trap and the end of Bear of the Curse, commented on Facebook when I put the album out, or no, when I put the song out, which means Sbagliata just means wrong, because I was with my friend Bob and we were working on this, just like try to like finish mixing and mastering and like put it out. I just wanted his help, and he said like, yeah, this is just like wrong. And I think no, because I think he knew that word in Italian for some reason, and he thought it'd be funny to add that, and I agreed. And it's just just wrong. The whole thing is just wrong. Nothing in there, but it's just the irony is that it does actually work out. And of all the comments that I've gotten about this song, it is a song that people have given me the most positive feedback about. Then there is another section that I won't get into because I don't want to admit to anything. And then comes to the point where I don't really know how to talk about this while still being respectful, but one of the reasons why the album did not come out for so long was, I mean, the main reason was that like I just wasn't satisfied with the mixes and all this stuff. It's a lot of effort, and I hate mixing and mastering. I don't think I'm very good at it. And by the way, I'm still not satisfied. Half the songs I think don't sound as good as they could, but it's okay because it's out, and that's what it is. And I decided to put it out. But yeah, I had a friend who was probably the best friend I've ever had in my life. And it's, I don't know, I feel like it's sort of like an insult to my other very, very good friends. But like, I don't know, just like one of the longest friendships that I've had. And I love this person so much. And so what happened was he was all over this album on several songs, on MVM by Nirvana, on Honey Trap, on this one, on Sacrificial Victims of Minotaur. And anyway, we're at a point where we were talking every day. You know, we haven't lived in the same place for a long time. But, you know, I've known this guy since he was 17 and I was 18. And, you know, our first job, we had to, that's how we met. It's our first job. And he's just such a good friend, and I love him so much. And so he went through a difficult time that I won't get into. And I was there for him when he needed a friend. And then I got mad at him for something very, very petty. I got mad because my ego and my feelings were hurt. My ego was hurt. And I was in a very dark place in my mind, and I was drinking a lot. Maybe I wasn't drinking a lot yet at that point. No, I think I was drinking at that point. Drinking and not doing as much cocaine as before I started drinking again, but I was still doing cocaine. I had a point where I had done some really shitty cocaine, which is probably actually definitely mainly methamphetamine, that a friend of mine had given me, and I had an overdose of cocaine, or sorry, methamphetamine. I just took too much methamphetamine to kill with cocaine. And I thought I was going to die. It was one of the most terrifying and horrible experiences of my life. One of the worst. And I've been through, maybe we've all been through a lot of shit. I'm not trying to like compare to anybody, but I've been through a lot of really traumatic shit in my life, especially during my childhood. And this is probably one of the worst things that I've done. To myself. I've done a lot of shitty things to myself. To the point where like I almost woke up one of my roommates several times to go to the hospital, but I did not have a health insurance card, and I did not want to deal with any moralizing from the people at the hospital, so I decided not to go. And I eventually came down. It was fine, but it was terrifying. But anyway, so after just basically sent me a message and I didn't reply. And then months went by and I just spiraled farther down into darkness and my addiction. Like I was just being an egotistical, avoidant person. And as time went on, I had more and more difficulty with the idea of reaching out to him because I felt so much shame. Because, although at the beginning of this difficult time, I was there for him, and I really was. Of course, like, it's not like that difficult time just ended, right? Like, I believe that he still needed me to be a good friend to him. And I wasn't. I wasn't a friend. I wasn't talking to him. So time went on. Even, like, I spoke to a mutual friend who did album art for another album. And he said, hey, that other friend just wanted, like, because basically, like, I received the piece and I paid that mutual friend, and he said, like, hey, other friend, sort of worrying about you. How you doing, man? And I still wasn't able to be there. So finally I reached out. Won't get into it too much. I reached out several times, and this person who was my friend made it clear that they did not want to be my friend. However, I did mention, like, hey, I want to put out this album, so even if you don't want to talk to me otherwise, because I reached out a few different, like, 3 occasions, like, when you want to, like, convert to Judaism, you have to ask the rabbi 3 times, has to deny you several times, and then eventually. So I tried 3 times, and even since then, one time when I was drunk, I reached out on another platform. But I received a couple replies, and nothing direct, especially as far as the album, saying, like, hey, we'll, like, put this album out, so you gotta tell me, please, if you're uncomfortable with being on it anymore. But did not get an answer back about that, and it was made abundantly clear that this person did not want to be my friend anymore. Which is very painful to me. And I think about this person every day. And it makes me really sad every single day of my life that this person is not my friend anymore, but I ruined the relationship. And that is my fault. And one of the things that's really difficult to accept, generally in life, that I'm confronted with now that I've gotten sober, is that I have ruined relationships, and a contributing factor to that was the behavior that I engaged in while I was, like, actively in addiction. I know I would not have acted like that had I not been drinking and doing drugs. And I feel something with regret and shame. I feel really ashamed of how I acted, of pushing this person away who loved me and who was there for me when I needed him, and pushing him away, especially when he needed someone. I'll say needed me, somebody who knew him very well and would love him unconditionally and would listen to him and would support him. And I didn't do that. Instead, I chose to feed my own fear and shame and addiction. And it's my fault. And I regret it. And it's really difficult to talk about and to admit that, and to face the fact that I hurt somebody that I love, and that I pushed away somebody that I love who needed me. And so as a way of, like, moving on to something else in my life, I needed to get this album out, to move on artistically, to move on as a person, to move on as to put out something which is, I really fucking hope, the last piece of art that I make on drugs. There are references to cocaine all throughout. And as I mentioned before, the Honey Trap is about the fear of relapse. And so, yeah. But then also this song, okay, so I'll finish with that part. I was a fucking piece of shit to this guy by pushing him away. And I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself, and that's okay. I think it's fine to have things that we don't forgive ourselves about. Maybe I will someday, but definitely don't feel close to forgiving myself for hurting him and acting in such a egotistically, such an egocentric way. Um, the song does have my friend Max on there. So one thing that's funny is that there are several references to him moving to Drummondville, but he did not move to Drummondville. It's in the Drummondville area, but it's not in Drummondville, so I think that's funny. And the references to that. There's also Max who sings on there. The second part in Italian is Max singing. And we went to practice space one night, and we're hanging out, and I asked him if he wanted to sing in Italian, and he wrote something in Italian, and he sang it, and it sounds great. Then he does play drums when it is mentioned that he likes to play the drums and massage your ears with good sounds. That is him playing a drum solo. And then there's the other section, which is, again, like Bearer of the Curse, a bunch of references to Dark Souls 2, but also death and decay. Death going back to the images in the Tarantella part. So let me just pull up the lyrics here. I don't really recall. It's been a while. No, it's the wrong song. Oh, I don't have the lyrics up here. I should put the lyrics up. Rather than moving closer, you're moving your face as they prepare your body to go in the grave. Did I put the lyrics up on YouTube? In any case, I'll update it. I don't know. I don't have the lyrics here. I could. Anyway, sorry. Well, I mean, I guess the point now I should. Did I put the lyrics up? Let me just see here. No. Damn it. I don't have the lyrics. There are a bunch of references to Dark Souls 2. I might just edit this video when I find the lyrics. Or I could retranscribe them by ear, but it's sort of difficult too in the part where there are two versions of me singing different lyrics at the same time. But yeah, a bunch of references to Dark Souls 2 and playing video games. Sort of goes back to Bearer of the Curse. Just like, even though everything's seems sort of pointless, I feel so unprepared now with this part, but it's already been almost a half hour that I've been speaking. I'll update the video with the lyrics and the Bandcamp page as well. And that's it for La Tarantella è Sbagliata. Later tonight, it's going to be 5 degrees Celsius. It's going to go up a bit. 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And tomorrow, got a bit of work to do, but not much else to do. So I'll figure out what I have to do. I'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching. It was overcast today, but I hope wherever you are, if the sun is not set yet, that you are caressed with beautiful blue skies and golden sunshine all along the way. And if it has set, then tomorrow, that is what you see throughout the day. Everyone, have a great day. Night.